Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music, and we're going to talk about how you could play a song by Adkins called Semper 5. And we're going to end up capoing this on 4th fret to match the recording, but it starts out with a really cool piano lick where you could play open B twice, and then 1st fret on the B, and then open B, and then open G, and then 2nd fret on the G, open B, 2nd on the G, open G, 2nd on the D, and then open G, open G, and then 4th fret on the D string, and then open G. And actually, if you're a little bit more adventurous, you could kind of add in some bass notes to that and have 3rd fret on the low E string with the open B when you start. And I'm kind of doing that hybrid picking, so I'm kind of using my pick for my bass and kind of adding in the notes with the fingers. So that O, 1, O, and then 3 and open. And then you could go to open D for kind of that 2, O, 2, O lick. And then add in 3rd fret on the A string for the 2nd on the D, and then open G, and then you could go to 5th on the A string for the open G, and then 4th fret on the D string, and then the 3 on the low E string with the open G. So that might be kind of a cool way to kind of intro the tune. And the chords that would kind of back that up, we'd start on a G major chord, and then we play G major. 1st finger goes to the A string on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger goes to the low E string on the 3rd fret, 3rd finger goes to the high E string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord, and it sounds really happy. Now you may want to think about playing that chord though with 2nd finger and 3rd finger and 4th finger, and that kind of opens you up to kind of get your 1st finger to add in that B string on the 1st fret note. And actually you could even kind of add in 1st finger on the B string, 2nd finger on the D string, and kind of hold down 3rd on the low E string 3rd, pinky on the high E string 3rd, and kind of make that like a G sus chord through that part. So you could even kind of have G major, G sus, G major on the G chords. Now another G major you may want to think about using though too is 1st finger on the A string 2nd, 2nd finger on the low E string 3rd, 3rd finger on the B string 3rd, and the pinky on the high E string 3rd. And that's another way you could play G major through the song too. And then from the G major, we'd be going to a D major chord on our intro. The way we play D major, 1st finger goes to the G string on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger goes to the high E string on the 2nd fret, and 3rd finger goes to the B string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum the D string to the high E string, that sounds a D major chord, and it sounds really happy. You can kind of play around with those notes on the high E string to kind of add something to the D. And then from the D, we're going to be going to a C major chord. And the way we play C major, 1st finger goes to the B string on the 1st fret, 2nd finger goes to the D string on the 2nd fret, and 3rd finger goes to the A string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds a C major chord, and it sounds really happy. And another way to play the C major through the song too is something called C major 9. And when we play C major 9, 1st finger goes to the D on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the A string on the 3rd fret, 3rd finger on the B string on the 3rd fret, and the pinky on the high E string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds something called a C major 9. So you may want to think about that for your C major. And then we'd be going back to our D major in our intro, and then back to our G major. So we have G major, da da da, G, D, da da da, C, da, D, G. Now a lot of times with a song like this though, to make it more interesting, I like adding something called a strum pattern. And one of my favorite strum patterns for a 4/4 like this is down, down, up, up, down, up. And we'll talk about another one later. But if we just took the G and tried that a lot, we'd have down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down. So we'd have G, down, up, G, down, down, D, down, down, C, down, down, D, down, down, G, down, down, up, down, up. And then from there, we'd be going into our verse part, and our verse is kind of like a little variation of that, where we'd have G, down, up, down, G, down, down, up, down, G, down, down, up, down, D, down, down, up, down, G, down, down, up, down, C, down, down, up, down, G, down, down, D, down, G, down, down, up, down. And then we'd be going into our chorus part, and our chorus starts on C major, and then we go to G major, and then we go to a D major, but it sounds like there's an F sharp in the bass, and that's something called a D/F sharp. And there's a couple different ways you might want to play that. You could do 1st finger on the low E string 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the G string 2nd fret, third finger on the high E string on the 2nd fret, and the pinky on the B string on the 3rd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds something called D slash F sharp, or D with the F sharp in the bass. Another way to play that chord is to take the regular D major and then use your thumb to kind of go over the low E string on the 2nd fret to kind of bring out that bass note. Another chord you might want to think about is something called D sus slash F sharp, where you do first finger on the low E string 2nd, 2nd finger on the G string 2nd, 3rd finger on the B string 3rd, and the pinky on the high E string 3rd. And that's something called D sus slash F sharp. So that way, if you're kind of digging on kind of that C major 9, G major voicing, then that makes that a little bit easier. And then from there we go back to G, and then we go to a C chord, but then we go to an E minor chord. And the way you play E minor, first finger goes to the A string on the 2nd fret, 2nd finger on the D string on the 2nd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds like E minor chord, and it sounds really sad. Now another high E string 3rd. And if you strum all those together, that sounds like E minor chord, or E minor 7 chord. So you want to think about using that. And then from there, then we go to an A minor chord for kind of this big cool push at the end of our chorus. And then we play A minor. First finger goes to the B string on the 1st fret, 2nd finger goes to the D string on the 2nd fret, and 3rd finger goes to the G string on the 2nd fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an A minor, and that sounds something called A7 sus, and that can be a very, very cool thing to kind of work through for the A2. And then we go to something called G slash B, where we play our G chord, but you're really trying to bring out the A string on the 2nd fret as kind of your bass note on that chord. And then we go to a C major, and then a D major, and then we end up back on our G major. So that's the weirdest part, actually, is kind of that big push, that A minor, G slash B, C, D, and then back to G. So we tried our strum pattern through our chorus. We'd have C, down, up, down, G, down, up, down, D slash, or D slash F sharp, G, down, down, C, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, A minor, down, G slash B, C, D, G, down, up, down, G, down, up, down. And then from there, then we're going to be kind of varying a lot of those things that we're talking about. Now the weird part is to play along with Trace Adkins. Instead of starting on a G chord, he's actually starting on a B major chord. So to play along with the recording, what you want to do is take a CAPO, and if you put the CAPO on 4th fret, then now your G major is really a B major chord, about with kind of that intro lick where we kind of had all those open notes, and kind of adding in those basses could be a really cool thing to kind of do, and then people would be like, oh my gosh, it's Semper Fi, I love this song. Kind of, or we could just strum through that, and then we'd have G with a down, down, up, down, G, down, down, D, down, down, C, down, down, D, down, down, G, down, down, up, down, up. Now something else you may want to think about adding to the song too is the bass notes though, and a lot of times on that first down of the down, down, up, you could play a bass note for the chord. So on the G chord, you'd have the low E string for your bass. On the D, you'd have the D string for your bass, unless you're doing the D slash F sharp, and then you'd be doing the low E string for your bass. On the C, you'd have the A string for your bass. On the A minor, you'd have the A string for your bass. On the G slash B, you'd have the A string for the bass. And then on the E minor, we'd have the low E string for the bass. So you may want to try that through your intro too, is adding bass notes. So you'd have G with low E bass, down, up, down, G with low E bass, down, D with a D bass, down, C with an A bass, down, D with a D bass, down, G with low E bass, down, up, down, up. So if we try that idea through our verse, and we have G with low E bass, down, up, down, G with low E bass, down, up, down, G with low E bass, down, up, down, D with D bass, down, up, down, G with low E bass, down, up, down, C with an A bass, down, up, down, G with low E bass, down, D with a D bass, down, G with low E bass, down, up, down, up. So we took that idea and applied it to our chorus. The weird part is that walk up, where you may want to just, you could even kind of ride that on the bass line actually, kind of that A for the A minor, G slash B is the 2nd fret on the A, 3rd fret on the A for the C, and then the open D. So when we get to that A minor, G slash B, C, D push, you could even kind of make it just kind of a bass push, or you could do kind of a bass down up through that part, which could be very cool too. And that's a little bit more challenging. But if we tried that through our chorus, we'd have C with an A bass, down, up, down, G with low E bass, down, up, down, D slash F sharp, down, up, down, G with low E bass, down, next verse. Now another strum pattern I would think about using though through the song though is something called a 16th note strum pattern. And what I mean by that is if you're tapping your foot to the beat, right now we're kind of dividing that into two parts with our down, down, up, down, up. 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's called an 8th note. What a 16th note is where you divide that into 4 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And one of my favorite 16th note strum patterns is a long down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, up. And what I mean by that is on the G, you do it down for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that's what you're doing on the first beat. And on the second beat, you do it down on 1, down on 3, up on 4. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. And then on the third beat, you're doing it up on 2, down on 3. So you're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, up, down, 1, up, down, 1, up, down. And on the last beat, you're going down, up, down, right along with the 1, 2, 3, 4. So down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So all together, you got down, 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 up, down, down, up, down, 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 up, down, down, up, down. This little variation where we did play a G, now it sounds like kind of an E minor and then kind of a hit to D. And the way that you would have chords with the strum pattern is you do just kind of the first down, 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 up on each chord. So we have down, down, up, down, 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 G, down, down, up, down, 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 G, down, down, up, down, 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 D, down, down, up, down, 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 E minor, down, down, D, down, down, C, down, down, up, down, 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 G, down, down, D, down, down, G, down, down, up, down, down, down. And then if we tried that through that chorus, actually that hit we were talking about, that bass down up, may feel a little bit better on that push, actually kind of working the 16th. So we tried our chorus with our 16th pattern. We could even add basses to that too. We'd have C with an A bass, down, down, up, down, 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 G with a bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, D, down, down, up, down, 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 up, G, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, C with an A bass, down, 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 up, down, E minor bass, down, 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 A with an A bass, down, G/B, C with an A bass, D with D bass, G with Louis bass, down, down, up, down, 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 G with Louis bass, down, down, up, down, down, down. And then from there, then we'd be going into our bridge part and our solo. And if we tried that with kind of our bass 16th pattern, we have D/F sharp, E minor Louis bass, A minor with an A bass, D with the D bass, C with an A bass, G with Louis bass, D with the D bass, G with Louis bass. And then from there, then we'll be going into our last chorus. And on our last chorus, right after that A minor, G/B, C, and then D push, we go back to E minor and then D for kind of half our strum pattern. And then we go right back through that A minor, G/B, and then kind of do a big C hit right before we kind of go into our outro. So we'd have C with an A bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, G with Louis bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, D with D bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, G with Louis bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, C with an A bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, E minor Louis bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, A minor, G/B, C, D, E minor Louis bass, down, down, D with D bass, down, down, A minor, G/B, C. And then from there, then we'd be going back into kind of our outro, which is kind of our intro. So you may want to kind of think about bringing those licks back from the beginning, especially if you're kind of thinking all these parts and kind of figuring out how you're going to cover this. Actually, that could be a very, very cool way to kind of end the tune. Or you could even try that with the 16th with the strum pattern. You'd have G with Louis bass, down, down, up, down, down, up, down, G with Louis bass, down, down, D with the E bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, D with the E bass, down, down, up, big G. But that's the basics of how you can strum through Semper 5 by Trace Adkins. Great suggestion. So good luck!